change. And then for the Shock, they have
Architect come in, play Reaper here, so this is the exact type of comp that you had when they had Striker in. So no changes in terms of heroes. I wonder if it's just they've kind of gone back, seen some gameplay, decided that Architect may end up being the better of the two.
So far, it's worked out well for the Shock, Matt. They've been able to adapt with some Bastion play in their comps as well. We'll see if that becomes an issue later on in this series. It won't be played here. Sinatra pretty cagey early on. He's a little bit more damage. Looking to land a punch and get started here. Missing a punch means he pretty much has to get out. Halted in. He'll be fine for now.
Yeah, you see a lot of Doomfist just kind of blindly punch around these corners, maybe just connect with an insta-kill, but the Gladiators have control of the point. They're backing up onto it.
Supports are so low for the Gladiators, they've got to back up. Their healing resources are being taxed severely right now. Sinatra had to clear a shot now to go for a punch, and he's gotten Shaz. That's the way to open up the fight. Shore4 fell soon after, and it was patience from the Shock. The Gladiators couldn't even capture the point to start.
And you can see how much healing the Gladiator supports are trying to do, because Big Goose already to a sound barrier. Usually it takes your Lucio a little bit to build up towards one. I mean, while at 62%, they win the fight.
With identical compositions, the Shock almost have double the damage done as the Gladiators do. The Gladiators have done much more healing, but even that wasn't enough in that previous fight. It's about 6.9k to 3.7k damage in favor of the Shock after fight 1. Drop in. Oh dear, Hydration's in deep trouble. He's low. Coalescence now going to try and keep him up, but everyone's morphed into a very small alley.
They can back up out of this. I mean, you use the Coalescence to keep everybody alive for the Gladiators, but the Shotgun just back around the corner.
The rising uppercut into the Gravitic Flux is going to be a sound barrier for the Gladiators to keep them in this fight, but they've already lost Shore4, and a Death Blossom from Architect wasn't even necessary even. The Gladiators already lacking players before the fight began, 44% to 0.
And now Hydration, you have this Gravitic Flux, but the other team has both of their support ults, because the Gladiators, they invest pretty heavily into that fight. They want to push through that narrow choke, but they're moving into the supercharger that Smurf throws down. They have to use both support ults to try and stay alive through it.
That is huge,
The Shock have a big advantage here.
They have both of theirs to work with. And they can sit pretty now, wait for the engagement. Coalescence comes out here, Gravitic Flux was used, but Decay's already been taken down. The sound barrier was good, and Sinatra is able to help his team trade 2 for 1. Tricobin goes down, but Sinatra's not far after. Shore4, that's a clutch Death Blossom. It had to be there. Will it be enough? Holt thrown out to try and give the Shock a little bit of breathing room, but the Gladiators were able to push up onto the point now. San Francisco were trying to buy time, trying to keep their players up. Violet's in deep trouble though. Hydration picks him off on the Hypersphere, and Smurf falls after. It's 85 and counting.
They can get in back and contest here as Moth tried to get on the point. Knocked out around the other side, just trying to get back to the rest of the team, but still 87% for the San Francisco Shock off of their initial hold on the point. It's really good. I mean, they need one fight to go their way. They'll get up to 99%, and then it'll be kind of a last-ditch effort for the Gladiators. So let's see how the Shock try and plan their attack. They're going to go through the same tight alleyway that the Gladiators tried.
Sinatra tried to pick off his opposite number there. Meteor Strike comes in. No connection. Accretion connects, though, from Tricobin. Hydration rattled and back to spawn. Great rising uppercut to end Shaz, and Sinatra is causing deep trouble for the Gladiators. The Shock have the numbers now. It's a matter of clean up. How long can Los Angeles stall out for? Effective janitorial work from the Shock, and now they're 91 and counting.
Yeah, they use the Meteor Strike plus the Halt. That sets it up. They get Hydration low, and then the Accretion from Choyobin will finish him off. As Choyobin, they'll have that Gravitic Flux here to try and put this one away.
Decay,
the first point. Decay not able to get a touch. And
Decay, I think we can talk a little bit about the Doomfist, right? We were going to talk about the Doomfist in a comparison between Sinatra and Hydration, but Hydration comes out playing the Sigma here in the off-tank chair.
Looking quite good on Sigma in a losing round as well.
But in the Doomfist matchup, Decay versus Sinatra. Sinatra with 7 final blows, 12 limbs, only 2 deaths. 23% of the team's damage at 4,300. Decay, he only has 2 limbs, 1 final blow, 1 death. Really passive game, only 2,500 damage on Doomfist.
Do you think
you need to see him get more aggressive?
Do you think that is kind of the... I don't want to talk about passive playstyle in the Gladiators because those two topics don't really mix.
Well, I don't think it's passive. It's just you want to play a little bit more defensive, I think.
Gotcha. Well, Decay has definitely been struggling in the Doomfist matchup. That is irrefutable.
This may be a good pick from the Gladiators, though. You can get the Bastion set up on the high ground, double shields. Not really a great opportunity to dive it. How do you play it? If you're the Shock, you don't want to sit out in the open space.
Okay, Sinatra's going to try and find a way to access Bastion without being out in the open for too long.
Well, they wrap. They're going to try and pinch from both
You
sides.
can catch
him rotating. Yeah.
Oh, okay, no punch into the wall. Decay was there for the response. Now the Gladiators can shift into high gear. They control the space, they have the Bastion, a player advantage, and more importantly, no Doomfist to unseat the Bastion.
And this is a tough position to play out of if you're the San Francisco Shock. You have to kind of play underneath on the point. Sinatra will switch over to Sombra here to try and break this, but Shervor with some good positioning early on Bastion.
And the timing was good. The walls came down at just the right time. Sinatra returns and gets a quick hack on Shawfall, which forces him out of the open. Will that be enough, though? The Bastion Short is going to return to the fray when the time is right. Moff's gone down first here. Violet's playing, invited grass from long range. He's not really trying to do too much there except stay alive. The Shock captured the point first, Matt, so they're stalling here, and that's what they're spending these ultimates on. They're not actually trying to win this fight. The longer they remain against the Bastion comp, though, the better it's going to be. And Shawfall's already switched off to the Reaper. It bodes well for the Shock, even if they lose here.
Yes, the Shock get the point, right, which is ideal, especially when you didn't expect it against this Bastion comp. Decay will take out Sinatra here towards the end, but you imagine Sinatra considers switching over to Doomfist, give up some of that percentage towards EMP. Maybe you think you're so close to EMP, you decide to stay on it. But man, 41% out of that fight for the Shock, that's like best case scenario, especially when they had the Bash on the high ground.
And the ult percentage that they accrued during the course of that fight as well. Yeah, they spent some. Violet used a Coalescence, but he's almost got his next one anyway. Decay, that's a Meteor Strike from the Gladiator's Doomfist, immediately forcing the Wraith walk out of Architect, who gets back behind the shield. In that space of time, Shaz has been taken down by Sinatra. Sinatra's just been more effective at picking off here than the Doomfist from the Gladiators. Decay has been coming up with not enough in these fights. And this is a huge turnaround, man. Look at these ultimates for the Shock. They are cruising.
And now with the Shock getting control of the point, not really using many ultimates, gives them a huge advantage. We haven't seen this kind of dance back and forth between the Sombra and the Lucio in a very long time, but Big Goose is not going to be able to use the sound barrier aggressively because they don't have the Coalescence to back it up. He knows EMP's on the other side, so you're going to be stuck holding on to this EMP sound barrier for a very long time.
Complicates this so much. It's going to be a 4-player EMP, and the follow-up is there in spades. Architect just spins his way down the stairs, flamenco style with 2.
I mean, you could use it that way too, right? They see the Gravitic Flux come out from hydration, they use EMP, they use Death Blossom, they push on up with Coalescence, they win that. Now they know that they're going to enter almost one-fight territory, right? They're going to get up to about 85% here before the next fight kicks off.
They actually
have Supercharger and Sound
They
Barrier.
have old advantage. Yeah. They have a Flux of their own. Chocoban brings them down. It was a Sound Barrier that was saved for just that eventuality by Big Goose, so clever by him, and knew it would be coming. Chocoban tries to go for an accretion on Decay at long range, just grazes him. Glancing blow. Redeploy there from Chocoban. He's playing on the front lines here. The Gladiators aren't giving the Shock much room at all, and Decay needs to find a killer. This Doomfist needs to hit gold. Architect working around the fringes, playing defensively, just forcing Shawfall away, who doesn't have his Death Blossom yet, so he needs to get out of dodge. He'll have that now. The Coalescence will keep him standing, and this is the Gladiators they had to go for him at. They had to spend these ultimates, and it pays off! Shawfall gets 2 with the Death Blossom.
Will it be enough, though? I mean, you take the point back. Decay will have a Meteor Strike, you have nothing else. You're going to walk into an EMP, and then, what? You're just going to have the Reaper come on through. Think about how devastating EMP is against a comp like this. Reaper's pretty good when he gets EMP'd, but like Doomfist, Orisa, Sigma, like no movement abilities on any of these heroes. They get hit by an EMP. It's pretty devastating for
How about that one?
Yeah, I mean, he just blows up right away. I mean, nothing these heroes can do without the mobility.
This is astonishing. Sinatra switched the Sombra to counter the Bastion, and when Shawfall switched off, he stayed on the Sombra. The Shock, an outrageous fight win for them there, with overtime ticking down. Decay can't touch, but he won't be there for long. Hit by accretion and hacked. Now it's Raw's turn to try and step up and do something about it, but no. Gravitic Flux from Chocoban is an insurance policy, but Shaz also falls. Hydration will try and step up here with Big Goose, but they are going to struggle, and Architect cleans it up. The San Francisco Shock put the flag down and make a strong statement here in game number 1. They want glory in Philadelphia.